Hello there and welcome back again everyone. It's time to finally carry on with this thing after a little bit of a hiatus. Well, really a day hiatus, I guess. And really, I have no clue how to continue on with this thing. The shape has a lot of potential, we just gotta somehow figure out how to fill out the center here, and so the ship can actually start to take form. Also, it helps if I actually see the components here, because, whoops. Well, let's try that again, shall we? There. One great thing about being able to save something there like that, you can just easily go back to it. At least having a mistake like that at the very beginning. That way I don't have to curse and swear for like the next 5 minutes trying to fix this issue that I just had. So, one thing I want to do is to try to get this to be a little more flush on the side. Again, a little uncertain if it's ideal or not. We're going to have to fine tune as we go. But otherwise, there's a lot of potential with the ship. I can very easily see like a connection point here with this point. Fill it out a little bit. Heck, I'm just going to try with just something simple first. I'm going to see if this crate thing actually will look pretty decent if I were to make it a size. Probably not, because the textures are going to stand out quite a bit, I'm fearing. But I am curious to see how it looks if I were to just do a simple connection here. It looks not too bad. Although, once I make it longer, how is that going to stretch the textures and potentially ruin everything, though? Because I think I need to invert it the other way. When I find the right axis, there we go. Is that any good? I'm not sure. Especially since I don't think it's completely filled on the bottom yet. There's a bit of an opening, so it's not quite perfect. So, it needs to get taller and a little bit wider, I guess, would be fair, maybe? We'll see how that looks. And at least so long as it's not metallic there, it seems to fit okay, I want to say. Remains to be seen. And we could use that for something. Does that work, though? Does that work? I'm not sure. And again, the issue is how does it fill out underneath? I don't think it quite fills it up. Unless I make it taller and then bring it down. Which I may be required, we'll have to see. Also, I'm half tempted to just kind of wind this like last component here just a little bit more, because that looks like it conveniently can cover over that lighting issue for me. Of course, the downside is that everything else, let's see, starts to stick out, which may not be ideal. I don't think I want that, but maybe that just means I need one other component. Or hell, I could just rotate this. We'll have to see. I don't have single degree rotations on, do I? No, I don't. So we'll save that for later. We'll continue on with the main top body there, work our way up to the cockpit, or the front, and finally shape that to a way it doesn't look like an actual Terran ship. Because everything I do, so long as it has that front piece taking up a massive section, it makes me think it's more of a Terran-aligned ship rather than an S-Track ship, so I want to avoid that if it's at all possible. Potentially. Problem is, we're going to need a lot more bigger, bulkier type of components, which is going to be hard. Because I don't think these sections here with the cockpits are going to be ideal. We'll need something larger, because I don't want to use another one of those components, because that just gets a little bit repetitive. But I am curious. Can I flip this over, invert it, and somehow make it seem like it blends in with the ship at all? I am curious. Wow. Aside for the texture difference showing there, that doesn't look too shabby. Because a lot of those components are going to be hidden once everything's all fleshed out, so I think that works pretty well. And it's actually not too shabby as metallic there, but it is like the only... well, it actually works with these side pieces here, which actually kind of fits. I might have to throw in a couple more pieces so to kind of fill out the blue section here, and I think I know a few pieces do that. But first, let's try and make sure this is flush. I think I may want to widen it some. Oh, it's so it's actually really tempting not just at all, quite frankly. So I think I just want to make it higher because there's just a tiny piece of the lighting showing, which I don't want. So there, that hides that. We'll probably put some like cosmetic pieces like this piece, for example, just to cover up some of those big bald spots that are just silver. I think that's what I want to do, and as I also said, there are some components that I can use that are more like filler pieces. I'm just trying to figure out where those are, because I have one in mind. Maybe those are huge pieces. I'm not sure, because that could do it, but I think that's too small to the component I'm thinking of. Let me see, journey with me, folks, as I try and find this component. And I think this may do it. Whoops, what the hell is... Actually, let me raise this component up so I can actually see what the hell this thing is, because it's a lot different than I thought. So, that looks like a good piece, I think. I'll have to put into place first to see if it covers over enough of the metallic that I want. And of course, adjust the scaling appropriately, but... this might work. It might have to go all the way to the front of it, this metallic section though. Unless I make it smaller, but if I make it smaller then it's probably going to be too small unless I have a wide... Actually, who am I kidding? Let me just proportional scale it to the proper length and see how that fits. I may even have to rotate some to make sure it seems flush. 5 degrees there, will that do? We'll know in a moment. Because ideally, if it could connect seamlessly with the back there, which I actually could do by raising this up, I believe. Don't know if it's the best idea, but that's also a possibility, so hang on to that idea. Actually, I may want to make it longer. I'm just wondering, is there a point where I back it up? No, not quite. I was going to say where I back it up. Ooh, actually I do. I actually do. Just give me a moment, folks. I think I know what I'm going to do. I may have to do singular rotations, but I'm going to connect it with that back piece with the lighting. Is what I think I want to do. This is just going to be a little bit of a tedious process to just figure out the angles. Because I think this works out well. Just a little bit. And now, do I make it longer or not? Let's experiment. If I make it longer, to that point, how does that look? That seems decent. It feels like there should be more blue to be the dominant color in the middle, because I get that weird feeling there's too much silver that makes me see the silver more than the blue. That's kind of the vibe I get. When I do it like that, is that okay? It seems okay. I'm half concerned about the texture though, being stretched. And what happens if I make it wider? Is that a good idea or not? Because part of the problem is like this connection point here, and I'm not sure what part of the ship is that. Huh. Well, it looks better there with this piece invert, but is that the way I want? Which looks better? Does it actually make a difference? I don't think it's noticeable anymore, now that I have this other piece there covering over the majority of it, so I want to say that looks better. And that did a lot, I feel like, to fill out that section. Now, yeah, I gotta be careful about stretching, because I was half thinking maybe having these clamps like stick out to the front some. So if I do that, because I'm gonna have to make adjustments, because is that too big? Again, I'm half concerned about the silver becoming dominant color, but I like that potential. The textures don't look too terribly stretched to the size for my poor one component up here. The poor thing. It's getting a workout there now with all the stretching I'm doing to this thing. And silver is starting to become dominant again when I pull this back. So I may need another blue style, or at least another component that's more bluish based. Now, there's one fear I really have, because as soon as I move this up, everything else moves with it. So I'm going to have to... I may have shot myself in the foot potentially with this component. That is a big concern there. I could easily hide it there, but it makes it really damn difficult trying to make a new component. Because it feels like if I make that just a tiny bit higher, this component here sticks out perfectly underneath this little curvature, and it fits nicely up here, I want to say. So this is going to be really ugly really quickly when I get to that point in a minute. I'm not looking forward to this prospect at all. But nonetheless, let me try and fill this out. So what's the best way to fill it out? Do I just use multiples of a small component, or do I try a big one? I'm actually half interested in trying to do like smaller piece here, just to kind of stick out but keep some of the silver intact, so it's not like a solid blue line or blue section in the middle there. I want to see how this looks, if I can make it work. Now, what is it, 45 degrees, I think that did? Yep. So that puts into place. And of course, since it is a 45-degree angle, I'm going to have to keep in mind that how I adjust it affects everything. So that's a bit problematic. I clearly did not think this through, did I now? Now I have to try and remember what axis still needs to move. And ultimately, I would like to have it maybe kind of like that. Just gotta stretch it out some. I don't know if I want any of that bottom piece with the metallic frame to actually show or not, though. So not quite certain that yet. And if I do, it has to be kind of like lower, I think, if I'm gonna do that. Yeah, this is going to get annoying. Bear with me. I think I'm onto something, though. Maybe? I have no clue. I kind of want to put another component there in the middle to just simply fill this out. I just have no idea what would be a good component, because this just looks like a simple light source, so nothing exciting here. Never mind that. Or I could do something a tiny bit different and use this here, and it clips right through the other two components, which might be okay. Use it as like a scanner antenna or something. Just gotta place it, scale it, invert it probably, and we'll see how it looks. This should be okay, I think, if I do it right. I'm just not sure what ultimately I would like out of this component. If I would like anything out of it all there, because it doesn't look too bad. The light kind of flows pretty nicely there. We got a little bit of light here. It ends. It has the illusion. It looks like it ends and then it goes through. Bit of texture. There's a little bit of odd texture look to it though, which is not the best. But I can work with that. Since it's just a minor thing, or hell, I could flip it upside down if I want like a different kind of line altogether. Which might like make it look a little bit different. Now, any more blue I want to put on there? Because I do like the metal on the side. I feel like there needs more dominant blue going through the middle. That's what I feel like, but time to deal with the elephant in the room, I think. How the hell am I going to do this, I wonder? Well, maybe height may not be too bad, but there's always going to be that illusion there. That transparent piece, especially with the lighting, that's going to throw me off completely, I feel like. But this one piece is ideal. I think this is the component I want. I just can't remember what the scaling is. It's just basic 100. Wow, that makes that simple for me, doesn't it? So, let's try and find a good component. Upside down. And again, there's the transparency I was worried about. It kind of makes it difficult to get a full grasp of it, but to be honest, upside down is kind of cool. Although doing it this way makes a little bit more sense. It's hard to truly imagine. Actually, I know an easy way to do this. And no, I did not name the ship yet. I apologize. This will give me a good opportunity to see which way I like it better, because this looks ideal for a command center, but what originally I had in mind was maybe flipping upside down. Although that actually looks pretty good too, because the bottom clamps of these well, I call them clamps, but really that piece there doesn't really show, and it fits perfectly up top there. So inverting it in theory should be the same. So bear with me. I do like the shape of this. I actually do like the shape. I don't think the front looks ideal for an S-Track ship though, to be perfectly honest, but I love this potential. But let's flip it over. We're gonna have to adjust a few things, the only problem. Let's see, how flawless can we get? Let's try this again, make it flawless. Different kind of experimentation, I guess. And those clamps work well there. You can kind of see that if you look carefully, because it feels like it goes with the ship some. Now, how does that look if I invert the textures? That's not too bad. It's not as jarring, I guess is the proper word to say, as when it was inverted. But that has potential. I like both of them. We're going to try this again. We'll have a look without the transparency. This looks a little bit better. The only thing is, if this is the command center, it needs more work, simply put. Which I'm okay with. I just don't like having this big semicircular piece here as like the top of the ship. That's my main concern, so I think we're going with that. And then the only problem is figuring out how, if these components down below are looking ideal or not. But suddenly, what felt like was taking an eternity is actually coming relatively well. I'm happy with this shape. This is surprising me even. It's not perfect though, because we have this component sticking out, which I'm kind of half contemplating getting rid of now just to see how it works, which I may do later on. We're not at that point yet. We're just going to focus on the cockpit and try and make this look more S-Track-ish. And easy things I did to make the ships look more S-Track was to use the standard cockpit I've been using for many of my ships, and then adding components around it to give it a different kind of look. Now the question is, where the hell is that cockpit? Did I lose that piece? Where'd it go? I know it's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Let's see, can we use this for anything, any clever way? That is the ultimate question. Because, I don't know. I don't want it to be too big ideally, because you think a command center would not be too massive. But I'm curious how it looks if I play around with this some. Only problem is, if I stretch it out too much to try and get it flush, the nose sticks out there, so I kind of would have to do it like that. And then, of course, that means we have to narrow it, which means we get a weird little gap there. And of course, I ultimately don't want this like this. As it is now, that is... What the hell am I saying? I don't think I like it in general. It has to look a lot smaller though, that's the main thing. It has to look basically, maybe, as big as the component down below. And the problem is there, this block kind of intrudes. Just a little bit, so I'm gonna play with it a bit more, because I have no clue what I want. And no, I don't think I want it down there either. So what options do I have? We got a little bit of a lighting there, which can be useful for something, but I don't think I want that as like any kind of command center cockpit area though. So I don't think I want to use this component for anything aside from maybe like a simple little like cosmetic area. Where the hell would I put this if I were to put this on as part of a huge scale ship? Because again, it looks like a fighter just without his wings, so that could be problematic. Not ideal. And hell, put it right there, lower it down to make it seem more flush, and that looks like some kind of fighter right there, which I don't think I want, do I now? Although I do like to think this can fit somewhere. Stupid thought, but I wonder if there could be a spot for it. Because that actually seems pretty decent there. I don't think it's quite centered, is what I'm getting that feeling it's not quite centered. Or that could very well just be the lighting doing that to me though. That's the only problem. So I don't know if that's true or not. Either way, why am I playing with this component? I'm not sure. I'm just trying to add more detail to the top, and I don't think it helps too much. Fun idea, but let's focus on the important thing. To figure out how the hell to make this cockpit work. And what I need to do is try and find more cockpit components to actually compare. That's really what it is, ultimately. Because this is definitely not going to be used as a cockpit, but I wonder if I can fit it in any way to kind of serve as like part of the nose, maybe? Is there any way I can do that? Let me experiment with this idea a bit. I don't think there can, because it's going to cover up some of the lighting that's going to negatively impact what I'm looking for, I think. So let's see, I have 5-degree rotation still too. I was thinking maybe sloping it downward to try and get a more seamless connection. I don't think it's going to work though. Not to my liking. Yeah, and it's too intrusive in the back, so that's probably a dumb idea. I'm just trying to figure out how to make this more flush, make it more like a mobile type of ship, because this so far looks potentially amazing for like a cruiser, battle cruiser, battleship titan of some kind, some heavy kind of starship. It just lacks the feeling of that it's a mobile ship. That's the thing. That's the trick. How can I make the cockpit area look like it's faster than the traditional type of battleship? Is the thought process I'm having. Ideas normally is to make it more sleek, which means you try and get rid of the blockiness normally. So if you can make it seem more sleek, that helps to an extent. So while I may not have this as a single piece, if I have the cockpit connect to this in some form, that could help maybe. That's the thought, that's the theory. I have no clue if it's actually going to work or not. I'm not quite certain. Because I need to make sure this is fits in properly too, which I think it can. It can fit right to this blocky area right here. And it looks like it fits pretty well. Do want to invert the textures though. That could work too. Both are optional. Both are ideal rather. Still doesn't solve my issue what I want for a command center, because there's no way in hell I want this as part of the command center, right? Right? It's too big for one thing, so I'm going to have to make it a bit smaller. And that looks horrible. It is currently scaling, so it kind of needs to be longer. Have that slope curve as I mentioned before. Only problem is this component here may need to get a little bit higher. And I did use this for the banish, didn't I? So it came out alright on the banish, so maybe there's a way I can use it for this. The more and more I play with this, the more I feel like I need to get rid of the cover over this blocky component on top entirely, so I think that needs to be my main focus, is filling out this entire blocky component first and then working from there, which is going to be a damn tall order because it means I have to have it a certain width because I can't make it narrow in any way, and then work from there. And by that point it's probably too big is my big concern, not to mention if I make it too long it starts to poke out underneath. So how do I fix this? How can I fix this? Because that looks, well, it's way too wide for one, but that's what I just said. Everything, the blocky component starts to show if I try and narrow it to give it a more sleek form. So I don't know how the hell to do this. Something so potentially amazing is thwarted. And is there anything I can do with this saucer section? I think I keep it for later because I don't think that's going to help me as much as I like. Not to mention, again, I want to avoid the Star Trek type of look. I somehow got away with it, although I still am upset with it with the roamer. And I don't want to go through with that on another ship if I can help it. I just don't have a clue how I can do this. I'm gonna have to think on this a bit more.